Uno, dos, uno, dos, uno, dos. Tiro así. Uno, dos, uno, dos. Uno, dos, uno, dos. Uno, dos, dos, dos. Uno, dos. Uno, dos. Uno, dos, uno, dos. Uno, dos. Uno, dos, 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 uno. Probando.
y buenos días a todos los que están dentro del salón. Las vistas congresionales van a comenzar. Necesito a todas las personas sentadas y en silencio, por favor. Les voy a solicitar que los celulares los pongan a vibrar o en silencio. No se estará permitiendo ningún comentario de lo que aquí se esté discutiendo. A los que pueden hacer recuerdo y en todo momento a los congresistas que le estén haciendo las debidas preguntas. Permiso, las vistas van a comenzar. Muchas gracias.
You a good morning, and thank you all for joining us today. I'm Congressman Brad Wenstrup, and I represent Ohio's 2nd Congressional District, and I'm chairman of the Committee on Veterans Affairs Subcommittee on Health. I'd like to begin by thanking Congresswoman Gonzalez-Colon for her determination and drive in bringing the subcommittee's focus to the specific issues faced by what is perhaps our most rural subcategory of American veterans, those who reside in Puerto Rico, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and the Pacific Island territories of Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and American Samoa. I'm also pleased to be chairman of the committee, Dr. Phil Rowe, today, and we are honored to have with us Nicole Rosario from Troop 546, and it is the 106th anniversary of the Girl Scouts, so we welcome you to the dais today. In so many cases, veterans of the island territories face enormous challenges while receiving health care from the VA, from traveling vast distances for care, thousands of miles in some cases, either by boat or plane, to physician and provider shortages, which can cause lengthy wait times. Access to VA care for those veterans can be highly burdensome, as many of you know. My goal for this hearing is to identify opportunities for VA to build and improve upon its relationships with local public and private healthcare entities, and hopefully reduce the burden we ask these veterans to endure. I also hope to gain a better understanding of what the immediate needs are for VA facilities to the Caribbean to fully recover from the devastation of Hurricanes Irma and Maria. In this discussion, we should take the opportunity to look towards the future needs of veterans of the Caribbean and discuss what steps VA can take today to address the future needs of the veterans served here. Before I finish my opening remarks, I want to take a moment to bring attention to the Herculean effort put forward by VA employees to keep facilities operating after Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Over 800 VA employees weathered these storms, leaving house and home to the elements, and stayed at the facilities to be with the veterans they are charged with caring for. Veteran service organizations of the islands helped tremendously in this life-saving effort by conducting house calls and checking in on injured, elderly, and bedridden veterans. The strength and resilience of the veterans of Puerto Rico is truly beyond. Honored to be here today. We are in this together. We are with you in this recovery. Estamos juntos en esto. Estamos con ustedes. With that attempt at Spanish, I'll yield to our full committee chairman, Dr. Phil Rowe, for 5 minutes for any opening remarks he may have.
Thank you, Dr. Winstrup, and buenos dias. I am Dr. Phil Rowe, representing also. Davy Crockett was a member of Congress from the 1st Congressional District, so I have big shoes to fill. And I'm also honored to serve as the chairman of the House Veterans Affairs Committee. As a young Army captain in 1973, I served in the 2nd Infantry Division, 2nd Medical Battalion, stationed near the DMZ in Korea, Camp Casey, and other places there. And I never dreamed years later that I would find myself traveling the United States and conducting field hearings focused on veterans' health care for some 4.5 decades after completing my service in uniform. But here we are today. Thank you all for being here and graciously hosting us for this examination of VA health care in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. I want to extend a very special thank you to Congresswoman Gonzalez-Colon for both her help and friendship planning this hearing, as well as her tenacity and unending support for American veterans here, especially those in Puerto Rico and the Caribbean and other Pacific territories of the United States. I want to thank you, Jennifer, for that. The veterans of Puerto Rico have fought valiantly in every conflict since World War I. Today, your sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, fight alongside Tennesseans and Ohioans in lands far, far away. Puerto Ricans shed the same blood on the same battlefields soil in order to keep our collective nation safe. We are eternally grateful for the sacrifices made by those who've worn the uniform. That is exactly why we are here today. Over the past several months, the people of Puerto Rico have navigated their way through the worst national disaster to hit this small island territory since 1928, almost 100 years. In September, a Category 4, maybe a 5 Hurricane Maria caused more than $94 billion in property damage and 112 lives. Throughout Hurricane Irma and Maria, as well as during the recovery, the San Juan VA Medical Center remained open for business, staffed by 800 dedicated employees and running on generator power. Think about this. While hurricane-force winds and rising floodwaters ravaged neighborhoods and family homes across this island, over 800 VA employees put the veterans they serve above themselves, left their homes to the elements, and stayed to accomplish. That is an amazing story that needs to be told to the nation. Today, I hope to hear a great deal about what resources were available during those 2 major storms and recovery, and how those resources were leveraged to meet the emergent needs of the veterans and the people of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. From our short time on this island, it's apparent that there's much still to do, and I'm eager to jump into that conversation. With that, Mr. Chairman, I will yield back.
Thank you. Thank you to Ms. Gonzalez-Colon for any opening remarks she may have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the whole committee and Chairman Rowe and Chairman Wenstrup to be here on the island and accept our invitation to know what's to be in Puerto Rico after the hurricane and the needs of our veterans. For me, it's a pleasure, and as the first and only member representing Puerto Rico in that committee, we are making history today, having the first hearing of this committee in Puerto Rico since the 46 when the committee was created. So thank you for that. Today is a historical day for all veterans in Puerto Rico, not just for having this hearing, but also I'm a proud member of the committee and have witnesses firsthand the hard work and unwavering commitment to our veterans shown by Chairman Brad Wenstrup and Chairman Rowe. On behalf of the veterans of Puerto Rico and their families, I want to express my sincerest gratitude for holding this hearing. I also want to thank our panel, Ms. Montañez, Dr. Miguel Lapuz, Dr. Antonio Sanchez, and Dr. Rafael Rodriguez and Dr. Ramos for their participation and valuable insight into current healthcare related concerns that affect our veteran population. I very much look forward for your testimonies and your opinion on how to improve those services in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has participated in every armed conflict alongside our mainland counterparts since World War I. They have been carried the U.S. and bled for freedom and values that make our country great. They have also, similarly to all veterans across the nation, returned home with illness, disabilities, and wounds, visible and invisible, that require medical attention. Our veterans and their family members, some of them, men and women here today, and need and deserve to have the best medical care and attention available. They deserve the best, and we owe them nothing. Puerto Rico currently has a single VA hospital and 8 VA clinics around the island. They are at the forefront of the care received by approximately 93,000 veterans residing in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. There are some intrinsic challenges with receiving medical services in these facilities given the island's rural landscape. For many years, I have heard multiple veteran states the issues that they have been with receiving care through the VA. To first, the extended travel time to go to the clinic. Second, which is particularly hard to our older veterans and their family members. Then, second, the limited provider availability and the physicians that they need in the hospital. And third, the staffing shortages overall. To make matters worse, Puerto Rico was struck by 2 consecutive hurricanes of historical force. And there are still families without power, more than without power on the island, with limited access to drinking water and communication services. Our veterans were not spared by those hurricanes. As you can imagine, events like this exacerbate any health condition and create even never for some structural damage and needs some repairs. And for that, I need some Florida. With that, they also included $11 million to service the VA system that are important to our nation, but specifically to Puerto Rico. They also approved in the VA more than $75.1 million to repair the veterans' health facilities in Texas, Florida, and Puerto Rico, and $93 million for the response overall, and $4.1 million to repair Puerto Rico National Cemetery and Veteran Benefits Administration in Houston, $11.1 million to cover the cost of medical services, including transport and mobile medical units during the storms. This is not enough. It's a good beginning, but I know that we can identify those resources like the clinic of Arecibo that this committee is going to be looking at this afternoon. Additional to that clinic, Arecibo and Vieques were still significantly impacted Veterans receive care at Arecibo Clinic are currently being treated in tents, essentially a field hospital on a parking lot belonging. Veterans residing in Vieques are being treated through medical home visits, and I cannot stress enough the importance of every single one of our VA clinics. It's imperative that we locate new facilities that meet VA standards and swiftly as possible so that our veterans can receive appropriate care in safe, accessible, and working facilities. It is also important that we are aware and understand the list of health care benefits available to them. Every veteran, and I have noticed that most of my constituents' veterans prefer to receive care at the VA facilities on the island. It is important for them to understand that there are other options in the case that the VA facility does not match the quality of reduced waiting time compared to an outside provider. However, I hear that many of them do not use it due to the misinformation of medical providers or even other veterans. I look forward to listening all of those comments, knowing if we can improve the access provided through choice and making sure veterans and providers are aware of the benefits available through the programs. Our veterans in Puerto Rico are facing a lot of challenges and struggles. We have a single veteran home located in the municipality of Juanadillas. We have learned that the demands have exceeded its housing capacity, and we have also noticed that, like many other state veterans' homes, the state share needed to complement the federal share of increasingly more challenging to meet, leaving the homes with issues when trying to maintain infrastructure and operational utilities, as well as taking care of our veteran residents while welcoming new ones. And I also want to stress out that we finally are working to have our first Fisher House in Puerto Rico. Since the hospital is located in San Juan, veterans residing in other municipalities must travel to this facility without having any place to stay when they are receiving treatment. For that, I'm pleased to announce that we are working with the Secretary of Health, Dr. Rafael Rodriguez, and the Governor of Puerto Rico just identified the land in the Hospital Psiquiátrico, and we are waiting for the transfers of those deeds to the VA administration so we can finally have our first Fisher House in Puerto Rico. The reason for that is because of the and I am proud to inform that on May of this year, the president of the Fisher Foundation and the VA construction management team will be visiting the island to inspect the site and give feedback on next steps for turning this program into reality on the island, finally. With that, I want to conclude saying thank you to our veterans population and to all of you that are in the audience today. I want to acknowledge with us, and I would love to have you standing to give a round of applause to the people of the American Legion, to the people of the Paralyzed Veterans of America, to the people of the Disabled American Veterans, to the people of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, to the Blind Veterans Association, to the Veterans of Foreign Wars, to the Military Officers Association of America, the military officers from Mayagüez, the Military Order of the World Wars, Vietnam Veterans of America, and our sons, the people from the 65 Regiment, the Borinqueniers. Thank you, all of you, for being here today, and thank you, Chairman, for your time, and I yield back.
Well, thank you very much, Congresswoman. Before I introduce our witnesses, I want to remind everyone here today that today's event is a formal congressional hearing. We will have only one, and only those invited to testify will be permitted to speak. There will be an opportunity after the hearing for those of you in our audience to come up and speak with me, with Dr. Rowe, with Congresswoman Gonzalez-Colon, or our staff if you have any questions or comments or need further assistance. So that being said, we're here today with several local medical leaders who help guide the ship through many difficult storms. Joining us on our first panel this morning is Mr. Agustin Montañez Alman, the Puerto Rican State Director of Veterans, Dr. Rafael Rodriguez, the Puerto Rican Secretary of Health, Dr. Victor Ramos from the Puerto Rico College of Physicians and Surgeons, and Dr. Miguel Lapuz, Director of Vision 8, the VA Sunshine Healthcare Network of the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Dr. Lapuz is accompanied by Dr. Antonio Sanchez, Acting Director of the VA Caribbean Healthcare System, as well as Mr. Louis Ratchford Jr., Deputy Assistant Secretary for Emergency Management and Resilience for the Department of Veterans Affairs. Thank you all for being here today and for all the good work each of you do to serve your veteran neighbors here in Puerto Rico and across the Caribbean. Mr. Montañez Alman, we will begin with you, and you are now recognized for 5 minutes, sir.
Good morning. My name is Agustin Montañez Allman. I'm the Veterans Advocate for the Government of Puerto Rico and a veteran of the Persian Gulf War and a recipient of the Bronze Star Medal. On behalf of our team, we welcome you for the opportunity you are given. We want to welcome you, Dr. Wenstrup, and also Dr. Rowe, and also we are very glad that Jennifer Gonzalez was able to get this hearing here in Puerto Rico. We appreciate it, and welcome to Puerto Rico. I want to make a disclaimer. I'm not a doctor, nor I'm a health professional, but obviously the information I'm going to bring is what we have observed and also what we have received from veterans to bring some information. First, I would like to talk a little bit about the mission of the office and how we relate to VA. Our mission is to enforce federal and Puerto Rico laws and regulations regarding USA veterans living in Puerto Rico, which also coordinates some social services. Because of its regulatory functions as an ombudsman, the office operates independently and is the main government agency that ensures the socio-economic well-being of veterans and their families. Our office of the Veterans State Cemetery and the Veterans Home serving 147 veterans. Under my direction, the Veterans Home regained the VA certification and has met inspections every year without a single jeopardy finding. We had the last inspection 2 weeks ago, and we didn't have no jeopardy findings in that inspection.